All right. Starting a little bit late, so let's go ahead and hop straight to it. Looks like we already have 23 alerts. All right. First off, we have a sell on XPL versus Tether. It's already 50% in the way to take profit, so it's too late to enter that trade. Next up, we have a 30-minute confirmation on Giggle versus Tether. Gotta take that on a sell to 86.85. Mm-hmm. Here. Giggle. This is a 30-minute confirmation. We have a risk of 6.04. We have entry at 113.86. We have stop at 118.33. And we've got to take profit at 86.85. Sorry about that. I'm on the wrong tab for one thing, and somehow it kicked me off of the stream. So back. Better. All right, first call. Giggle versus Tether. It's a 30-minute sell. Your entry price is 113. 0.86. Your stop loss is 118.33 for 447 pips. Your take profit is 86.85 for 2,701 pips. And the risk reward ratio is 6.04. Again, this is Giggle versus Tether. You can find that pair on BTCC. Next up, we have the same pair on a 15-minute confirmation. Enter that on a sell to 90.36. So it's Giggle. It's a 15-minute sell. Risk reward is going to be 5.49. We have entry at 114.30. Stop loss at 118.66. And we've got stop. We'll take profit at 90.36. All right, we have Giggle versus Tether. A 15-minute sell. The entry price is 114.30. Your stop loss is going to be 118.66 for 436 pips. And your take profit is going to be 90.34 for 2,394 pips. Risk reward ratio is 5.49. Next up, we have NXPC versus Tether. Don't like this setup because we have gray, aqua, blue. That's consolidation above current price, so it won't be entering that trade. We already looked at XPL. So on the 15-minute is beyond hope. On the 30-minute, we can enter. We're going to take this on the short from current price, targeting 1740. Right. And XPL versus Tether. It's going to be a 30-minute sell. Risk is 3.2. We've got entry at 1913. Got stop at 1967. And we've got take profit at 1740. Next up, we have XPL versus Tether on a 30-minute sell. Your entry price is 0.1913. Your stop loss is 0.1967 for 54 pips. Your take profit is 0.1740 for 173 pips. And a risk reward ratio of 3.20. You can find this pair on BTCC. Next up, we've got KNC versus Setter, targeting 2653. Say 30-minute confirmation. Your risk is going to be 4.63. We have entry at 2778. We have stop loss at 2805. And we've got take profit at 2653. Right. We've got KNC versus Tether on a 30-minute sell. Your entry price is 0.2778. Your take profit is 0.2653 for 125 pips. And your stop loss is 0.2805 for 27 pips. Risk reward ratio is 4.63. Again, this is KNC versus Tether. You can find this pair on Liquid Brokers. And we've got Basic Attention Coin versus Tether that already hit take profit. Too late to enter that trade. We have With versus Tether. Already in another entry on that trade that appeared to have hit stop loss. It's giving us a secondary entry at 3.23. We'll take that. WIF. This is a 60-minute confirmation. Got a risk of 3.55. I have an entry at 362. Have stop at 373. And we got to take profit at 323. All right, we've got a WIF versus tether on a 60-minute sell. The entry price is 0.362. Your stop loss is 0.373 for 11 pips. And take profit at 0.323 with 39 pips. Risk reward ratio is 3.55. You can find WIF on liquid brokers. All right. We're already in United States dollar on Hungarian forint on a sell. So we're not going to enter a buy. As a matter of fact, the buy hit stop loss. So that trade is invalidated. We're already in KNC. We're already in United States dollar versus South African rand. We're already in United States dollar versus Polish zloty. We have stop loss hit on Great British Pound versus US dollar. Don't believe we entered that trade, so it's a good one to be avoided. We have take profit smashed on Great British Pound versus Danish krone. We did not enter that trade yesterday. We're already in basic attention coin. Well, actually, no, we didn't get this one. This was at 1:45 a.m. So it's asleep at that point. But that hit take profit. This is micro Bitcoin. We're not in this trade, so that hit stop loss. We have a 15-minute call on the Great British Pound Sterling on the futures. That hit stop loss, but we did not enter that trade. Same thing on the 30-minute. We avoided that. And same thing on the micro on the Great British Pound Sterling. We avoided that entry as well. We have a take profit on the euro versus the Great British Pound. We entered this yesterday during the London session. There's a take profit smashed. Just a little bit smaller so we can see it. For 28 pips. Right on. Congratulations on those of you that caught that along with me. Nice little snack. And that makes win number 1,459 for us for the year. and brings us to 6,106,829 pips won. Rid of this. Sure. That as well. All right, and we have take profit smashed on the euro versus the Great British Pound. On a 15-minute sell, the entry price was 0.88079 with a stop loss of 0.88152 for 7 pips. Take profit was hit at 0.87802 for 28 pips on a 3.79 risk to reward ratio. Again, that was the euro versus the Great British Pound sterling. And next up, we have take profit smashed on Merle versus Tether. And that was for 2,135 pips. I believe we took that last night in London as well. So congratulations for those of you who took that trade. All right, that makes win number 1,460. And brings us to 6,108,964 pips 1 year to date. Again, that was Merle versus Tether. It was a 15-minute sell with entry at 0.35719 with stop loss at 0.36221 for 502 pips. Take profit was smashed at 0.33584 for 2,135 pips on a risk to reward ratio of 4.25. Let me grab the ticker for that. And that was for $2,720.91. Not bad. Hold on, let me record this in my tracker. All right, so 11:25. This was Merle versus Tether on a sell for 27.2091. And this is Merlin chain. Merlin chain. Oh man. So there's the announcement for Twitter. I gotta get this bad boy up for LinkedIn. Still not certain how I slept so hard last night. I'm guessing I didn't sleep particularly well earlier yesterday rather. So I feel groggy as hell right now. I'm alarming a little bit more alert. Sorry about that, guys. It kicked me out of the stream again. Not really sure what's going on. By the time I realized it, I was already on another screen. There we go. So for those of you who missed it, we had a call on Euro versus Great British Pound and on Merle versus Tether. Both of those hit take profit. I don't know whether or not I missed those by announcing those or not. We're on something completely different now. We're on LA versus Tether. It's a 30-minute sell. The entry price is 0.3962. Your stop loss is on 0.4092 for 130 pips. And your take profit is going to be 0.3333 for 629 pips with a risk to reward ratio of 4.84. Again, this is LA versus Tether. Let's get this announced out. Says I already said it, which is okay. Never mind. It's going to be discombobulated. Dude, did it kick me out again? No. Hold on one sec, guys. Part of my setup was off. That's what's throwing me off. All right. That's fixed. So LA versus Tether. You can find it on Liquid Brokers and BTCC. And next up, we have One versus Tether. This is on a 1-hour confirmation, so it won't mark itself off until 3:30 in the morning. We're coming up on 2:45 a.m. That's our next ticker into the market. We're going to fall into a 15-minute pacing of entering trades. So every 15 minutes, it's going to give us up to 439 opportunities to enter the market. Those are all the different assets that we trade. We also do trade futures. Those are on a 5-minute cadence apart from the market. So our next ticker is at 2:45. If we get nothing there, then the next ticker will be at 2:55 for the futures market, and then 3 a.m. sharp for the rest of the markets. 3 a.m. is a 4-hour candle for the crypto market because it goes from 7 p.m. to 7 p.m. every day. That's an hour off from Forex, Indices, precious metals, so on and so forth. So should have a nice bit of action coming up soon. Got about a minute and 15 seconds before we get more alerts. Meantime, let's take a look at Bitcoin and what is going on there. All right, so we're slightly to the bottom of the Asian range, down 889 points and climbing. We do not have an Elliott wave, but we do have a retracement from the top of the Asian range. So it looks like we're going to fall out of the bottom of this bad boy. We've got to break this area of support here for a downtrend to kind of be reestablished on shorter time frames. There is a downtrend still on longer time frames, so a little bit of patience is going to get more of a sell-off on Bitcoin. Right, it's now 2:45 a.m. It's going to take about 3 minutes for TradingView to go over all the assets to see if we have some trades here. It gives us time to take a look at some news. All right, a quadruple drop of major news in the U.S. dollar produces price index and retail sales. Producers price index is a measure of the amount of money that manufacturers pay for raw materials to make finished goods. Those prices are normally passed on to us at lower or higher prices based off the things that we buy. And then retail sales is kind of affected by the FOMO of the stores themselves. If you're not aware, normally when you have a quote unquote sale going on in the store, they've actually marked up the price. And if you don't know this trick, what you can do is you can go in and kind of peel off the bottom sticker of the tag on the sales price, and you'll see that they've marked it up when they start advertising for a sale. If you discover that that's the case, they actually have to honor the lower price. So don't get gypped over the holidays. Make sure that you know the actual price. And then later that evening, we have major news on the Australian dollar. We've got consumer price index year over year. And we have a possible rate change on the New Zealand dollar at 7 p.m. Looks like they're predicting it's going to be a rate decrease to 2.25%. And that's going to have a major effect on New Zealand dollar pairs, if that's the case. So we'd be looking for entries on the euro versus the New Zealand dollar, the Great British pound sterling versus the New Zealand dollar, the New Zealand dollar versus the Japanese yen, the New Zealand dollar versus the Canadian dollar, and possibly the New Zealand dollar versus the Japanese yen as a result of that rate change. All right, so we did get a ticker that's on the XPL. We could ignore that. Which means we're still waiting on another 12 minutes or so for our 1 hour entry on one versus tether. In the meantime, I am the Pit Messiah, your host for the Quiet Storm live trading session for November the 25th, 2025. You can find me on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, Twitch, Kick, Nemo TV. For the podcast, you can find me on Apple TV, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and Amazon TV. We do go live every weekday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday from 2 a.m. Central Standard Time to 4 a.m. Central Standard Time for the London session. And then we come back again for New York from the opening bell at 8:30 a.m. Central Standard Time up until about 11 a.m. Central Standard Time, unless we kind of run dry on action, in which case we stop a little early. And if you haven't already done so, I would appreciate it if you would drop a subscribe, like the video, and turn on those notifications to keep abreast of when I do go live in the market. Your support is surely appreciated. Again, for those of you that are new on the platform, we fall into a 15-minute pacing of signals. Right now, we are awaiting the approach of the top of the hour. One ticker at 2:55 a.m. Central Standard Time for the futures market, and the next at 3 a.m. Central Standard Time for the rest of the market. And as a reminder, that will be a 4-hour candle for the entire crypto market. Normally, that causes a great deal of movement. So we have timed this right. We're going to start getting a lot of opportunities on crypto. Otherwise, that movement happens during the New York session. So sit tight. You have time and need to go grab a snack, something to wake yourselves up. A nice tea or some coffee or some hot cocoa would be nice right now. So a little bit of a slow week in terms of the number of wins, but they are bigger. We've got 8 wins so far this week for a total of $44,990.91, average of about $5,600 per trade. This is what I'm looking at. Just kind of keep a spreadsheet of it myself. So we had a 30-minute and a 1-hour confirmation win on Ton Coin. We had a very small win on Space ID. We had a win on Near Protocol. I forget what Reds is for. We had a win on that for 8,000. Right after that, we had a win on Guns versus Tether for 6,500. Then late last night, right before I went to bed, we had a win on OG Fan versus Tether. And then we just caught a win on Merlin Chain versus Tether for 27,2091. So solid in terms of profit for the week. Just the numbers aren't there, but either way, we'll get there. I think we had ended up seeing 181 wins last week across all the markets. Not so sure it'll be that fast this week, but the wins will be bigger. So we did take a lot of larger positions this week as opposed to last week. So generally speaking, what you see is depending on the time frame, typically larger time frames have larger positions in terms of lot size. And of course, you end up making more profit if you hit a trade on a longer time frame typically than on a shorter time frame. So for instance, I do call on the 1 month, the 3 month, and the 6 month. December the 31st is a confluence of the 1 month, the 3 month, and the 6 month time frames. And on that day, for New Year's Eve, you might get a number of swing trades. Those are always nice to start the year. You take the trade and you just wait very patiently. And when they hit, those trades alone could sometimes make your entire quarter because they're big. So even on a low lot size, you can hit yourself a nice little lick. We did not have that benefit this year because, of course, for those of you that know, I was pretty sick to start the year. I had a major heart attack, a stroke, and a quadruple bypass in August of last year. So I was out of commission for about 7 months. So I did not start trading this year until February 3rd, well after I recovered from the surgery. So we missed swing calls. And one kind of hurt me the most, mostly because I wasn't lucid enough to trade at the time, was we missed a 6 month freaking swing trade on gold versus the United States dollar, which hurt me the most because it hit an all-time high today, which means we would have smashed profit on that buy. Not today, this year. So earlier in the year, it busted past 5,300 per troy ounce, if I remember correctly. So I'm going to take a look. Gold. Yep, 53.8144. And I believe our target was 43.70, 42.75. And our entry was like at 2,800 and change. So that would have been a massive, nice win. Speaking of which, commodities are getting blasted right now. And I don't know why that's still on the list. We won on gold versus Australian dollar. We're deep in the profit on the United States dollar versus oil. We're probably getting murdered on silver and platinum. All right. 3 minutes to the top of the hour. We got no new dings from the futures market, so we don't expect anything there. We're waiting to mark up at the top of the hour so we get this entry on one. This should be a fairly large position because it's on a 1 hour time frame. So watch your leverage. You don't need to get greedy on these. We do have lots of trades that we take, and we win a lot. So don't care about that. We do appear to have an acceleration of profit across our book. Feels good to see that. So since we started, looks like we've gained about $40,000 of P&L. And we're in 145 different positions. So I don't want one to run off on us. I want to be able to get this position. One minute left again. We're likely to get a number of other dings too, again, because this is a 4 hour candle for the crypto market. But we're going to focus on getting this one for one versus Tether called out first. So ignore the dings. Those are just other alerts. We'll get to those shortly. All right, here we go. All right, we got a sell on Solana. Here they come. Told you. All right, where's our markup on one? What's the deal? Maybe I need to refresh my screen. It's being a little temperamental right now. There we go. We got an entry to 00385. Hop into this bad boy myself. It's going to be one versus tether. It's going to be a short. Hmm. What the heck happened there? Oh. All right, so this is open, and this is a 60-minute sell. We've got a risk of 3.21. We've got entry at 430. We've got stop loss at 444. And we've got take profit at 385. All right, we have open versus tether on a 60-minute sell. Your entry price is 0.00430. Your stop loss is 0.00444 for 14 pips. And your take profit is going to be 0.00385 for 45 pips with a risk to reward ratio of 3.21. And that's going to be one versus tether. And you can find it on Liquid Brokers and BTCC. Meantime, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 1-hour trades. All of those are going to mark themselves off at 4 a.m. So those will be the last trades that we call for the afternoon or for the morning, depending on where you are. So we've got Solana, Pepe Coin, Aster, Floki, eGold, another Solana versus Tether, Jito, and Kaya. Those are going to be nice. So nothing new for 3 a.m. Our next opportunity to enter the market will be at 3:10 a.m. for the futures market and 3:15 a.m. for the market proper. And I've noticed a number of 30-minute and 1-hour signals. It might be one of those nights where we get longer entries on cryptocurrencies. Now note the time frame for the confirmation has nothing to do with how long it takes for the trades to hit take profit. You can sometimes get on a 1-hour trade and it hits within 15 minutes. Sometimes it takes several hours. Sometimes it takes several days. Doesn't matter. The name of this game is waiting. You're literally paid to wait. And you wait anyway. So if you can learn not to be impatient, then you can trade effectively. To demystify a little of what you're seeing here, what I'm looking for when I get these alerts is confirmation of the buy or the sell. So one night, right now, we're looking at the 1-hour confirmation we just took on one versus tether. And the reason I immediately hopped into this trade is because of the ways that the exponential averages are. So the EMAs are these colored lines that you see on the chart. You have the blue, which is the 800 EMA. You have the gray, which is the 200. You have the aqua, which is the 50. So real quickly, if you're looking at any asset on any time frame, if you have blue, aqua, gray, the 800, the 200, and the 50, you're in a downtrend. So if you get a sell confirmation in a downtrend, you enter that trade without question. Conversely, if you have aqua, gray, blue, the 50s on the top, the grays in the middle, and the blues on the bottom, and you get a buy confirmation, you're going to enter that trade every day because you're trading with the trend. If it's any other combination of these three EMAs, you do not enter the trade under any circumstance because that implies consolidation. Now, sometimes it's safe to do so if the long-time trend is strong, but technically you're trading against the trend when you do that. And even though there are some instances where counter-trend trades do hit take profit, generally, as a retail trader, you want to avoid getting into those. They're not high probability trades. And that's precisely what you want to get into. So with that, we're going to go back and pay attention to Bitcoin itself on the 15-minute as we await those things cooking for us. Now, Bitcoin, just in the time that we've been waiting for one versus tether, has declined another 500 points. And right now, it's in a bit of free fall. It's below the 200 EMA. Still not below this price point to establish a new Elliott wave. But it is below 1, 2, 3 sell order blocks. So right now, the price of Bitcoin is a complete free fall. All the way down to 81,000 even. So that's another 5,000 points. So Bitcoin could fall 6,000 points today. So I hope you did not get in on a long position on FOMO. Because to drive this home, you go up to the daily time frame, and you see that golden cross right there. The 200 is over the 50 on the daily. That means every lower time frame is on a downtrend. So unless you like being violated, don't go long on Bitcoin. Point blank, period. Wait for price to retrace and then sell off until you have a change in direction. Now, as far as I think this is going to go, if you look at it, there are 3 order blocks below current price that the institutions are trying to liquidate because people are being greedy trying to buy Bitcoin. There's a significant order block at 76,200. There's another one at 70,000 or 71,000 even. And the last one is sitting around 65,004. I am fairly confident that the price of Bitcoin is going to liquidate all these people. There are no order blocks between this and the very last one because it's impossible for Bitcoin to go to zero because there's one guy that has a buy order at 1 cent for 21 million units. So it is theoretically impossible, so long as that limit order is still open, for Bitcoin to go to zero. But this is in range to go and get all of this liquidity. That's a lot of money sitting down there. And these institutions are on a stop hunt rage right now. So they're going to get this. So if you're in any of these positions and those buy orders have not activated yet, save yourself now and get rid of them. You're not going to be able to time this market. You're going to wake up and your money's going to be gone. And if you just insist on doing this, the better play would be to set your stop down here at 65, or even more importantly, right below that. So I would probably sit it at 64,000 even, because this is all going to get cleared. And even then, you got to be careful because they might get greedy and liquidate you too and push it down further. If I were the institutions, I'd be trying to push Bitcoin all the way down to 55,000 to kill all hope. And then all the retail traders will be out and they're going to take this price to like 200,000 plus. Because you got a FOMO and you hit the market thinking you knew what you were doing and you didn't. We can see the order blocks. Professional traders trade by liquidity, not by price. That's why we win so often. We know where everyone else is. So while people are being liquidated, which they have been left and right, we haven't been liquidated. We've been winning consistently every week. And we're going to continue to do so. No, this does not mean they hop in and sell on Bitcoin. Let it rock and do its thing. We don't enter the trade blind. We don't have a confirmation on a sell. Other opportunities will come. Let Bitcoin do what it does. We'll get opportunities elsewhere. Now, if it causes sell on Bitcoin, we'll take it. Again, this is going to get nasty. When New York opens at 8:30, this is going to accelerate. This is in free fall. There is nothing stopping the price from declining down to 81. And I mean nothing. There's no structure, no nada. It's going to get faster once it clears here, around 85,003. And the candles after that are going to happen real fast. And we do have a quadruple drop of news in the US dollar, so it's possible this happens today. Just be prepared. It's coming. It's now 3:15 a.m. We have no new dings. So waiting on next entry into the market. We'll be at 3:25 a.m. for the futures market, which I don't anticipate this morning. And then 3:30 a.m., the half of the hour for the rest of the market. We may get some things at 3:30 on 30-minute confirmations, which will also come off at 4 a.m. So right when we're about to end the live, we'll clear out our queue of trades. What you're looking for, take out these order blocks. We have confirmation of the trade here, is that in the 1 hour succeeding the call for price to retrace up into price action to give us a better risk to reward ratio. And then we take this off on a sell. We don't want price to take off on us because then that eats into our risk to reward ratio. And there is about 43 minutes until this is called. So it's going to move a little bit and then retrace back up on all these different signals. And we're going to get nice entries on all of these. And they're going to be fairly big. Now, not all of these move together. They're all differently correlated to Bitcoin at whatever platform they're on. So, for instance, you don't see the retracement on anything else, but on JTO, you do see it. So this is going to happen on all of them. Sometimes around the 5 and the 13 EMA, often even a little beyond that. A nice fat candle. And we interrupt down here and we sell off. So these are very good setups to get into. Again, they won't mark themselves off until 4 a.m. Bitcoin's down another 100 points. Let's check out where the money's going. It's one of my favorite sites, Crypto Bubbles. All right, so we have money flowing into Bitcoin, but we have Ethereum outperforming Bitcoin. So what happens when you have a decline in Bitcoin price, a decline in Bitcoin dominance, and Ethereum outperforming Bitcoin? People use Ethereum to purchase altcoins. So when you start looking at the last hour, what do you see? Not a lot of movement just yet. But when you start going up in time frame, you look at the day, look at all that green. Rain has doubled in price. We talked about this in New York yesterday. It was up 100% at that point. Look at all those green bubbles. These are all altcoins that are being pumped in live time. Because you can see the money, and this is all public record, you can hop into any one of these and be making money. And that's just the top 100. You can actually see where all the stuff is. Right now, it looks like the 700 to 800 range has the most activity in terms of being up. And you look here and you see some coins you haven't heard about. PSP is up 166%. You can really start to see some gems here. Yala's up 80%. You got a number of these that are up. Look at it. The money's everywhere. You just follow the money and make your money. Let's go back to the top 100 and go to the week. Rain. You go to the month. The Zcash is up 1,500% this year. Rain is still kicking butt. Probably haven't even heard of that coin before, but I've been watching it all year. It's been performing very well. AB, 14,183% this year. Let that sink in. That means if you invested just $100 in this at the beginning of the year, you'd be sitting on $141,780 right now. And you can see this because this is a visualization tool. It's going to show you literally how the money is flowing. There's nothing to think about. This is just the top 100. There are other coins, CCD, UDS. You go to the next tier. You get WIF, QRL, XPR, Metal. You go to the next tier. You got Coca, Pippin, SVL, ORE, OG Fan. We want to trade on that earlier today. You got WKC, Torn. Got Cookie, Dovu. Gamecoin, you got all those electronic gaming leagues. They're being powered by that coin. You got Soros, Banker. This is actually powered by all of the payment rails in the banking systems. And Able. You don't really have anything in this range. You got GP. And for the last group, it's all getting smashed. I know people loved all these darn AR coins, but there goes one. Neural net. It's getting absolutely murdered this year. Because that's not where the money's going. But add that to your toolbox, cryptobubbles.net. It's a great site. Another kind of gem here is you want to be able to accumulate cash. You want the power of compound interest working for you. So you don't want your money sitting in a bank right now. You want your money making money. So give you another tutorial here. It's one of the things that I do religiously. How many of you have heard of BlackRock before? This is the largest venture capital firm in the world. And they have these wonderful things called iShare ETFs. So you're going to go to BlackRock, you're going to go to funds, you're going to click on iShares ETFs. You don't care about mutual funds. You don't care about any of that other crap. You want this link. Now, when you're making the investment decision, what you need to work on is looking only on the 10-year growth rate. You click here, and you're looking for something based off of a rule called the Rule of 72. The Rule of 72 is a compound interest rule from finance. Basically, you take 72, you divide in your interest rate, and it shows you the number of years it's going to take for your money to double. You want something over 12%, 12% or better. So at the least, your money's going to double every 6 years. As you can see, they've got funds that are over 27%. This is their best performing fund, iShares Semiconductor ETF. It has a 10-year growth rate of 27.55%. That means if you park your money in here, it would grow or double every 2.6 years. But I want you to note the year-to-date growth, 43.7%, 07%. You're not going to find that in any bank. Start looking down. You see the 10-year growth rate, 30%, 22%, which is about every 3 years, 30%, another one, 30%. This one's at 19.61, but it's up 120.62% just this year. This is their ETF on gold miners. And this is just BlackRock. So you start cobbling together a little bit of money from your checks every 2 weeks, every month. You grab a part-time job, you let that stack up. You get your tax return, don't spend it. Open up an account, even at BlackRock, one of these firms, and find yourself an ETF with a 10-year percentage rate over 12%. Obviously, you want to go to the highest that you can find and just park and leave the money there. Let's suppose that we were going to park just $10,000 in iShares. All right. And we're going to sit it in there for 15 years. That $10,000 will turn into $320K in 15 years. In 21 years, it becomes 640. In 24 years, it's 1.28 million. In 27 years, it's 2.56 million. And in 30 years, it's 5.12 million for investing one time at $10,000 and doing nothing else. Most of you will never make $5 million in your entire year working 40 years for someone else or for yourselves. But with the power of compound interest, you can do that very easily. And it's not hard to acquire $10,000. All right, so I did hear a ding, so let's get back to the action. And there's a number of those firms. BlackRock is just one of them. You got Vanguard, SunGard, Fidelity, TD Waterhouse, Charles Investments. I mean, they go on and on and on. All of these guys have these ETFs. Look for the 10-year growth rate. Just as I promised, it is 3:30 in the morning. We have a 30-minute confirmation that's going to mark itself off at 4 a.m. We'll take that along with these trades. So we have 9 trades that we're going to call at the top of the hour. Our next opportunity to enter the market will be the futures market at 3:40 a.m. And then we have the market proper at 3:45. And as you can see, same thing. You're going to see this over and over again. I've taken about 30,000 trades over the past 12 years. And this phenomenon happens about 85% of the time. You get a confirmation of a buy or sell, but then in the very next candle, price retraces into your price action. This is why you wait to enter. Not when you see the confirmation, but one time frame away from when you see the confirmation. You get that better entry, and you're going to be the better for it. You'll stop getting stopped out, and you'll start winning more consistently. It's going to drive up your win percentage a lot. And Bitcoin's still hovering around 1,500 points down. It's going to get real quiet on Bitcoin between 4 a.m. and 8:30 a.m. That's normally the time that the London market falls into consolidation, which is why we do our live from 2 to 4 to get our setups. Because what happens is that when the New York market opens and we have high quality setups, these setups race to take profit when the liquidity from the United States comes in. So those 9 trades are going to do us quite well. Even if they don't hit take profit today, they're going to be significantly in profit today. So if you want to close the trade early and take your trade winnings to compound your account, you can do that. By no means do you have to wait till take profit. See blue, smash blue. But I will say congratulations in advance because they're going to do quite well. Let's take a look at the world markets. I haven't looked at indices today. Everything's getting smashed. Wow. Okay. And futures, nothing too crazy. Micro Bitcoin is down 2%. Micro Ethereum is down 3%. Gas is down 2.75%. Treasury bonds and treasury bills are stable. Natural gas is down. Google's up 6%. Jesus. So is Tesla. So a couple of companies are making a run. Nothing too crazy on currency. The spot market is all red. And most of the crypto market's going to be red too, following Bitcoin and Ethereum. So Bitcoin is down. Bitcoin dominance is slightly up. Ethereum versus Bitcoin is down, which explains why we have a sell-off of altcoins. So the downtrend continues. Looks like the dollar has recovered over $1 per dollar, which means that things are going to continue to be cheaper going into the holidays. Ideally, what we want to see is a golden cross where the 50 crosses over the 100, over the 200, and the dollar continues climbing. If we can get it to like 104 to 109, that would be great because that means things are going to be dirt cheap for us for the holidays. But we definitely don't want to dip below 100 again. You go up to the weekly, you can kind of see what I'm talking about. At one point, and this was just in January this year, the dollar was trading at 110. That means it was a 10-cent premium for every dollar you had in your pocket at the beginning of this year. And then we had the sell-off. So that's going to start to recover itself. Generally speaking, if you're looking at the DXY, you're looking for the golden cross on this time frame, the weekly. We are in an uptrend on the monthly, which is helpful. So looking at this, it is very possible that we clear 110 sometime in the second quarter of next year. So it's looking very good for the U.S. economy. That is providing any of us have jobs by then, for those of you that are still working. All right. Seven minutes to go. I'd be very surprised if we get any short-term calls. So it looks like we may get another slate of calls at 4 a.m. itself. I, of course, don't plan on staying on another hour or another 30 minutes past that to call those out. We'll let them rest. They're going to be in consolidation anyway until New York. So we get new signals at the 4 o'clock hour. We'll call those out for New York. They're not going to move. But we're definitely taking the 9 that we have. Oh, man. Again, a hearty congratulations for those of you that took trades, especially from last Friday. That's where most of our wins came from, with the exception of Euro versus Great British Pound and Merle versus Tether. We called those last night. Actually, not last night. We called those for the New York session yesterday. So right before 11 a.m. And both of those hit take profit for us today. The rest were all from Friday of last week. From either the London session or the New York session. So either way, we still have over 100 positions that are cooking right now. The total book that we have is all moving into profit. So we should get a nice deluge of profit throughout the week. You have a number of 30-minute and 1 hour confirmations. So the wins will be larger than you're probably used to seeing, which is fine for those of you that were patient enough to stay in the trade the entire time. I heavily encourage a lot of you, because I notice you're compounding your accounts, not to wait to take profit. And I ask the trades to get a profit, close the trades, Take your money and compound your account. That's going to give you more confidence, and it's going to give you more equity so that when you take trade positions, even if, for instance, the trade goes against you for a little while, now you have enough equity to weather the storm. You don't have to worry about it. There are a lot of times where trades will go opposite what you think will be the stop loss, instead turn around and take profit. About 85% of the activity in the market is done by computers. These computers also have rules because they're programmed by humans. So what happens is you can see the tails when computers are making a move. They like to stop things at nice even numbers as false or bottoms or tops. And when they stop at a real weird number, that's how you know that they stopped a liquidity grab or moving things. That's your opportunity to strike. I've been talking about Bitcoin selling off for quite some time. So this dates back to the day that President Trump announced the 100% tariff on the People's Republic of China. And that day, Bitcoin dropped to 102 even, 102,000 even. And I said at that time in the very next line that that was a false bottom to Bitcoin. They were going to sell it off. And that's exactly what happened. Price went past 102 and it kept going. On the run up to the all-time high, there was a false top at 107,500. I told you guys it was going to blow the top off of that. It did. It reached 126,000 and change. Could not hold the position and then sold off. Let me check the timers and see where we are. Bitcoin is climbing. We got that retracement of price action. Remember how I told you guys what was going to happen to our positions? Let's go and look at it. Solana starting to buy up. Aster, Pepe, Floki, eGold, Solana versus Tether, GTO, Kaya, all starting to make those moves up. We got another 15 minutes or so to go as those bake. That's going to give us better entries. We're going to sell it. All right, so we actually have an entry possibility on the euro versus the US dollar. We're going to enter this. We're going to sell this off to 1.15086. And this is the euro versus the US dollar on a 15-minute sell. We got a risk to reward of 3.51. We've got an entry price at 1.1536. We got a stop loss at 1.15438. It's going to be for 8 pips. And then we got a take profit for 1.15086. And this is a perfect example of us lying in wait for institutional traders to make a stupid mistake. This is what happens when you trade like they do. But look, we got a solid confirmation of a sell. Price went into profit and then waffled, but it didn't quite get there. And then I took everyone for a ride down by the lake. This is your real entry. Here's your high. Here's your lower high. This is going to sell off and hit take profit for us. All right, there's your call for Twitter. And your call for LinkedIn and for everyone else. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a sell on the euro versus the US dollar. It's a 15-minute sell. Your entry price is 1.15360. Your stop loss is 1.15438 for 8 pips. And your take profit is 1.15086 for 27 pips with a risk to reward ratio of 3.51. Again, that is the euro versus the United States dollar. That is a major Forex pair. We'll go back to Solana. Got 12 minutes to go to the top of the hour. Good work tonight, everyone. Not a lot of calls, but meaty ones. It's going to make for a hell of a Tuesday. Stupid thing. I'm going to have to talk to StreamYard because I've had some bugs with my back end studio for quite some time, where it keeps kicking me off of certain things. There's something wrong on their platform, which is irritating to me because it's normally pretty stable. And guys, just hang on tight. We'll wait for the top of the hour so we can go ahead and get these trades called off. Again, we have 9 signals that we're going to be calling, beginning with the spot on Solana versus Tether. Sorry, Solana versus the United States dollar. This will be a 4-hour candle for the rest of the market, with the exception of futures and cryptocurrency. So it is possible that we get a deluge of other signals coming through. Again, we're going to ignore those. These are the 9 that we'll call. We'll leave the rest of them open so that when we come back from New York, we can see whether or not they've moved or not. I doubt they will. Typically, they fall into consolidation and we're able to safely enter them, letting all the gains go away and out of the market between now and the opening bell of the New York Stock Exchange, and then enter those fresh with liquidity to get profit. So that's the play. You typically do not want to enter trades between 4 a.m. and 8:30 a.m. You will almost always lose. And about 5 more minutes at the top of the hour. Get out these last few trades, and then we're going to get ourselves a nice little rest before New York. Go ahead and take care of the housekeeping now so I don't have to do it after the fact. Again, I am the Pit Messiah, your host for the Quiet Storm live trading session for London for November the 25th, 2025. You can find me live on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, Twitch, Kick, Nemu TV, and then you can find the podcast on Apple TV, Amazon Prime TV, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. We go live every weekday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday from 2 a.m. Central Standard Time to 4 a.m. Central Standard Time for the London session. And we come back again for the opening bell of the New York Stock Exchange at 8:30 a.m. Central Standard Time and go typically until 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. That's 1 hour past the closure of the London Stock Exchange. So if you haven't already done so, I would appreciate your support. Depending on what platform you are, subscribe. See, a lot of you are on from Twitter. I see a lot of you all on from Nemo TV in Southeast Asia. Like the video, turn on those notifications to keep abreast of when I do go live in the market. And I would love to have you back for the next broadcast. I've been trading for about 12 years. We do this literally every day. I never plan on ever putting this behind a pay gate. It's just not my style. When I learned how to trade, I had to pay a crap ton of money to learn. And these guys were not trying to teach you how to profit, which always frustrated me. So my goal was to become a really, really awesome signal caller. And I am. So I pay it forward by taking the lessons that I learned from my mentors in the market and providing some type of support for retail traders that may have been struggling that now consistently profit. And so long as you're not greedy in terms of your lot sizes, you can grow your accounts and start moving your toes towards time freedom. And that's really what you want. And for those of you that do this the right way, which means you're going to grow your account conservatively, it's going to take you about 3 years to really get to the point where you can start making a decision whether or not you want to walk away from working for someone else and just do this full time. It can be done quicker, but doing it quicker comes with a risk. So just a little bit of math. I do this every day almost. Let's just suppose you're trying to grow $500 at 1% per day every weekday for a year. There are 261 work weekdays in a year. That means that at the end of 1 year, you're going to have $6,211.85. Now, you take that forward, you have a multiplier of 12.4237. So suppose you take no withdrawals and you grow that 6211.85 for another year, 1% per day. At the end of year 3, you're sitting at $77,174.16. But let's suppose that you do it again for a third year. At the end of the third year, you're sitting at $958,788.62. That's enough for all of you to comfortably retire from your job and just make weekly withdrawals from your account and be able to pay all your bills while leaving the rest of the money in the account to continue compounding. Now, if you are smart and you get yourself a nice community trust fund and then make yourself the executor of that community trust fund and then put your brokerage accounts in that community trust fund, then what you do is you take an owner draw from the trust fund to yourself and you eliminate it being a tax for converting to ordinary income. Because you didn't make the money yourself, it came through the trust. All right, it's now 4 a.m. Again, I told you guys we were going to get signals coming from other places. We're only going to focus on the ones that we've already called. So Bunk Coin and Cookie, those are 1 hour confirmations. They'll mark themselves off at 5 a.m. I am not staying up to 5 a.m. to call those. We'll wait until New York, and if those entries are still there, we'll get them. First up, we've got Solana versus the United States dollar. This is a spot cryptocurrency. Going to take this on the sell to 128.56. Oh, sorry, 126.56. Even better. All right, let's get the parameters for this real quick. 1 second. That's 1. That's 2. Blue trade. SOL. 60-minute sale. The risk is going to be 3.51. We've got entry at 136.28. We got our stop at 139.05. And we've got take profit at 126.56. There's a call for Twitter and the call for LinkedIn for all other platforms. Your call is Solana versus the United States dollar, a 60-minute sell. Your entry price is 136.28. Your stop loss is 139.05 for 277 pips. Your take profit is 126.56 for 972 pips and a risk to reward ratio of 3.51. Again, this is Solana versus the United States dollar. That is a spot currency. You can actually find this on liquid brokers, on LHFX, and on BTCC. Moving on, we've got Pepe coin versus Tether, targeting 0.50397. I'm going to hop into this one myself. What the heck is going on? There we go. This is Pepe targeting 397. One, two, 4, 5, 397. All right, let's grab this and get these parameters real quick. All right, we've got Pepe. This is a 60-minute sell. Risk of 4.55. We've got entry at 447. We've got stop at 458. It's going to be for 11. And we've got take profit at 397. right, we've got Pepe versus Tether on a 60-minute sell. Entry price is 0.00000447. Stop loss is going to be 0.00000458 for 11 pips. And take profit is going to be at 0.00000397 for 50 pips with a risk reward ratio of 4.55. Again, this is going to be Pepe coin versus Tether. You can find it on both Liquid Brokers and BTCC. Moving on, we've got Aster versus Tether. I'm going to take this on a sell to 1.03. 1.013, sorry. Yeah, I'm going to do this as well. All right, risk is going to be 4.13. We've got an entry at 1.145. We got a stop at 1.177. And we've got take profit at 1.103, 1.013. It's 132. Perfect. All right, here we go. We've got Aster versus Tether. This is a 60-minute sell. Your entry price is going to be 1.145. Your stop loss is going to be 1.177 for 32 pips. Your take profit is going to be 1.013 for 132 pips. And a risk to reward ratio of 4.13. And this is Aster versus Tether. You can find it on BTCC. Next up, we got Floki versus Tether. This time targeting quadruple 04272. This as well. It's 4272. Yeah. All right, that's done. Let's hop into this. All right, we've got Floki on a 60-minute sell. We've got take profit, no risk, 5.16. You got entry at 47.67. You've got take profit at stop loss of 48.63, 1 to 4, 48.63. That's 496. And take profits at 42.72. Be distracted by that foolery. That's 495. All right, we've got Floki versus Tether. This is a 60-minute confirmation. Sell. Your entry price is 0.00004767. Your stop loss is 0.00004863 for 96 pips. Your take profit is 0.00004272 for 495 pips. Risk to reward ratio is 5.16. Again, it's going to be Floki versus Tether. You can find that on BTCC. Next up, we've got eGold versus Tether, targeting 7.16. Go ahead and enter that real quick. All right. It's going to be a 60-minute confirmation again. This time the risk is 3.93. We've got an entry at 775. We've got stop at 790. And we've got take profit at 716. And we've got eGold versus Tether on a 60-minute sell. Your entry price is 7.75. Your stop loss is 7.90 for 15 pips. Your take profit is 7.16 for 59 pips. Risk to return ratio here is going to be 3.93. Again, that is eGold versus Tether. You can find that on Liquid Brokers. Next up, we've got Solana versus Tether, targeting 126.58. Go ahead and enter this real quick. Come on. There we go. We've got Solana versus Tether on a 60-minute sell. Your risk here is going to be 3.42. We've got an entry at 135.99. Got stop loss at 138.74. And we've got take profit at 126.58. All right, we've got Solana versus Tether on a 60-minute sell. Your entry price is 135.99. Stop loss is 138.74 for 275 pips. Take profit is 126.58 for 941 pips. Risk to reward ratio is 3.42. Again, this is Solana versus Tether. You can find this on BTCC and Liquid Brokers. Next up, we've got JTO versus Tether. This is JITO, targeting 0.397. Hop into this. All done. And JITO versus Tether on a 60-minute sell. Risk here is going to be 5.61. You've got an entry at 498. You've got stop at 516. And we've got take profit at 397. All right, next up we have JITO versus Tether, another 60-minute sell. Your entry price is going to be 0.498. Stop loss is 0.516 for 18 pips. Take profit is 0.397 for 101 pips. The risk to reward ratio is 5.61. And this is JITO versus Tether. You can find that on BTCC. Next up, we have Kaya versus Tether. Going to take that, targeting 0.0758. Let's trade real quick. Beautiful. All right, let's get some parameters here. It's going to be a 60-minute sell. This time the risk is 3.91. We've got an entry at 8:01. We've got stop at 8:12. And we've got take profit at 7.58. And we have Kaya versus Tether, a 60-minute sell. Your entry price is going to be 0.0801. Your stop loss is going to be 0.0812 for 11 pips. Your take profit is going to be 0.0758 for 43 pips. Risk to reward ratio is going to be 3.91. And you can find Kaya versus Tether on BTCC. Then last up, we have Form versus Tether. This time targeting 0.3221. All right, in that trade. Let's get these parameters out for you guys. Sorry about that, guys. I've been having issues with StreamYard all evening, and it kicked me off. There we go. All right, so this is going to be Form versus Tether. It's the last one for the night. This is a 30-minute sell. Your entry price is going to be 0.3925. Your stop loss is going to be 0.4027 for 102 pips. Your trade profit's going to be 0.3221 for 704 pips and a risk to reward ratio of 6.90. Again, that is form versus tether, and you'll find that on BTCC. All right, so we'll let the rest of those bake until New York. That retracement shouldn't last too much longer. And again, for those of you who don't know who I am the Pit Messiah. You can find me on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, Twitch, Kick, and Nemo TV. That's mostly for Southeast Asia. You can also find me on my podcast on iHeartRadio, Amazon TV, Amazon Prime TV, and Spotify. We do go live every weekday from 2 a.m. to 4 a.m. Central Standard Time for London, and we come back again from 8:30 a.m. until 11 a.m. for New York. So I'll see you guys in a few hours if you're coming back. If you have not already done so, I would appreciate your support. Subscribe to whatever platform you're on. Drop a like if you have the ability to do so. Turn on those notifications to keep abreast of when I do go live in the market. And I'll see you guys in a few hours. Cheers.